get this reposted like I intended to. I need to figure out a better way of getting this out to multiple places at once, because this is a little bit annoying. Share to a group, and paste it, and share to this one. Sugadoogadoogadoo, shared, make sure that actually showed up. All right, there we go. Sick. Okay, so let's see how we're doing here. Kind of giving away what's gonna happen there. In a second, looks like we're connected everywhere. Check restream. We appear to be live. We are going live and everywhere except for Twitch. Twitch is taking its merry freaking time. That's fine. That's okay. Cool. So, first of all, before we do anything else, you might notice a little something new in the corner under my picture. And let's see, right there. I can't do this with the freaking camera. This stream is officially sponsored, which is real freaking crazy. I am a complete sellout. It's shocking how quickly I sold out actually when offered. I think I sold out so fast I actually went back in time and then offered myself the opportunity to sell out. So DistroKid, I don't know if you guys all release music, but a few people have asked me how I've done this, and if you are one of those, you know that I would have actually recommended DistroKid to you anyway. It's kind of hilarious to get offered a sponsorship by a service that I've been recommending to people for free for years now. I think I've been using them since like 2013 or something. They started, I remember it was like something at TuneCore happened or something, and then they started. But yeah, it's kind of wild that I'm in this position. But in any case, just real quick, gonna talk about that. DistroKid rules. DistroKid is just a stupid easy way to get your music in stores and everything. Here's what the thing looks like. And if when you sign in, these are like the 2 tracks I already have up through them, and you can see all the stores that they got them in here, which is really cool. Actually, yesterday I realized that Drifting wasn't on Shazam, and I like enabled it, and then it was there like 4 hours later. They're just stupid fast, and you can do a bunch of cool stuff. You can see the stats, you can see like my pathetic little Spotify streams for stuff, but actually like 2 people listened to my stuff last week. That's kind of awesome, actually. Anyway, it's really cheap too. That's another big thing. It's like $20 a year, and they'll do cover song licensing for you, which is what we're working on here. Is a cover song, so I'm actually going to be doing it that way. I'll come back to that a bit later. But for now, let's do what y'all are here for. Let's do some musics, because music is awesome. So I am working on this here track, which is a cover of Cradle of Rocks by Bentley, but the Bishop gamified. All right, couple things. For anyone who's interested in what's going on in the guitars there, it's actually just 2 guitar tracks for that first big loud part. I messed around with quad tracking, and it just wasn't doing it for me. So I just left it to 2. And so there's going to be a video for this. So there was a little bit of a limit on how much I could go back and forth on the editing. So what I've mostly done here is this left take. That's my video take. That's the one that I'm trying to leave alone. The edits I have here are just cutting out a little space before the chickas, just to make them pop a little harder. And just because like I'm using the hard gate here on them, and it's pretty tight, but it makes it just a little more I don't know, just a little wilder, which I kind of like. So here are the guitar tracks by themselves. Yeah, so they're really like clearly there's a hard edit there. This is not a like natural sounding guitar at all. But I really like the way that works. All of those little clicks are matched by the hi-hats in the drums that my buddy Blaze was kind enough to record for me. I have another stream of me editing those in the archives if you want to check it out. So you can hear how those two kind of all do that stuff together. Here's the... Yeah. So that's the money. So in terms of the guitar tone here, it's pretty simple, actually. I'm cutting off a bunch of low end, pushing... this is the left side, so that's this guy. So yeah, cutting off a bunch of low end, pushing it with a Minotaur with the tone down a lot. I was really trying to control kind of how bitey it gets in the mid range, because I wanted this to be spanky but not that spanky. And the Minotaur is really, really good at that. It gets there really easily, so I had to kind of tame it a little bit. And then my hard gate, which I'm putting after the distortion. I keep going back and forth on whether this is the optimal way to do it or not. I think you can kind of get it to work either way. When you put it after the distortion, it feels like it does a little bit of this like high-end control thing. It does sound a little bit different. Generally, I put the gate before my distortions, but in this case, this is just the way I started doing it, so I ran with it for the rest of the stuff. Then a badonk, nothing really crazy going on here. I think I might have pulled the sag down. I don't remember. This is based on the factory preset in Factory 1, which I made anyway. So, and then finally, I'm using an ML-IR because I got this. I forget how I got this pack actually, but I got this pack and I figured this would be a good chance to test it out. So this is based on an oversized Mesa cabinet, which is what I like using anyway. And so I'm just using the mixes, the little IR mixes that they come with. 80 and 8K cuts, kind of standard. And I might take the low cut off and control it afterwards. We'll see. Other side is pretty similar, but it is... Actually, let me grab that native. So that is the Rev, which is with a pretty similar thing. I'm just opening it up, make sure I'm not missing any chat messages here. Pretty similar kind of setup on this guy, which is I'm cutting off a good deal more low end. So I found the Rev to be a good deal woofier than the badonk. It's just like the amp naturally by itself is not nearly as tight as the badonk is, which is the badonk's usually my go-to for this kind of stuff. But I wanted something, so I'm trying to get out of the habit of just like having the same sound on both sides to just get my sounds a little wider. And when I demoed this out, I just had the badonk on both sides, and it makes a bit of a difference. I tried to EQ them so they're as similar as possible tonally, so one's not obviously significantly brighter or whatever. But this they're just a hair different, which you can hear. So here's the Rev. Here's the badonk. Whoops. They're just a hair different. And that difference is actually what makes it wide. That's what actually makes it a good deal bigger sounding than if I had just done the same thing on both sides. So, and if I made them even more different, it would actually be wider. But if you do that, you sacrifice some of that tightness and kind of sounding like it's one giant guitar rather than two guitars playing the same part. The editing is also helping with that. So I have my one live take with that I'm trying not to touch, but the other one is fair game. I edited the hell out of this one to make sure that it matched. Actually, you know what? I didn't edit it quite that much. It looks like I actually played it reasonably tight to match the other one, which you can kind of see there behind this. Let me pull that up. Yeah, it's not too bad. So most of the editing here is still just to get those little chicka pops to be a little tighter. So that's what's going on there. And I've got another edit here, which is just the little stutter thing, which live I would be doing this with my guitar wing, and it would just be a mono thing, but it would just stutter twice. But because we're in the studio, I can pull some BS like this and have it pan, because I tend to like having my stutters pan left and right. One other thing that I'm doing on the guitars that is pretty fun is I'm actually doing some transient shaping here. So this is specifically, I did this to again to make the mutes pop a little more, just to get those chicka chickas to be a little more, a little brighter, a little punchier. And you can kind of hear what it's doing. I'll bypass it, and you can kind of hear here's the guitar by itself. Oh, oops. And with it. It just makes the front of the sound a little brighter, a little punchier. It's actually even more obvious if I do both of them here. You can kind of hear how, particularly going into those mutes, it's really brightening that up and helping it. It brightens the tone up in general, though it's not the same as just doing an EQ boost, because you can see as it's moving around here that it's only applying it on the transient. So maybe it's more like a dynamic EQ, I guess, but it's accomplishing it through a completely different way. I actually kind of want to see. I might poke our DSP guys. What's up, Johnny? I might actually poke our DSP guys and see if we can get a transient designer into Helix. It shouldn't be that difficult, because it's not like it's modeling anything. We just have to make a thing that does that. Because I was actually thinking it would be pretty useful for stuff like this. Cool. So that's that main guitar, or the main guitar tracks, the djenty stuff. Then I've got another thing here happening when we go into the verse. Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it. All right, cool. So let's go to the verse and hear what's going on there. I'm going to mute the vocals so that... what's the most efficient way of doing this? I'm just going to disable this whole thing, just so you're not hearing the reverbs and whatnot. Okay, so actually, here's a mix move that we're going to do. The bass is too loud here. One of the things I'm doing when we get to the verse is, and this is an arrangement thing, but the live drums drop out, and we've got the just the sort of the electronic drums playing, which sounds like this. Nice little trip-hoppy loop. But another thing I'm doing is I actually, for that, I am taking the low end off of the main loop that I got from Damage, and taking some of the low end off of that, because I wanted this verse to feel a little smaller than the others, because this is, you have this real big riff intro, and then we're going to bring it down for the first verse. We're going to get bigger in the second verse after the first chorus, but I wanted to leave a little space here. So what I'm noticing here is when we get into it, the bass is actually a little bit too loud, and we want to control that, because otherwise it's going to be overwhelming. So I'm going to bring the bass down here just a couple of dB, and I'm going to leave it up for these sections where the guitars hit big again, and then let it get loud into the chorus. But let's take a listen to that. Okay, that feels actually pretty good for the bass, but I got to turn the other synth down. I've got this angry synth going. Oh, no, the verse synth. That got loud. I think I was probably just trying to get over the bass, so let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, that's feeling good. So let's check out. So here's the guitar. So I think I want this to be maybe a touch darker and chunkier. Let's bring the presence down. I think that's going to balance that synthesizer a little better. So let's hear those together. Whoops, wrong synth. Is it not like a mid-range thing? Hold on. All right, that's feeling a little better. There we go. Let's pop it out just a little bit. You know what? I actually might take off. Let me see how much I'm boosting that transient. I'm going to bring that down a little bit. All right, and that big guitar pop here, I think that might be just a tad loud, so I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Actually, I'm going to bring that down, the first part of it, the chugs, but then bring the big thing back to make that hit. And maybe let's grow into that. Yeah, make that hit real hard. And then do the same thing into the chorus. That's, I'm tempted to leave it just that loud because I like the way that hits. I'm going to bring down these chickas, though. Those coming across a little bit loud. I think, I might have actually filtered those in the original one. Oh, and my video is frozen. Let me fix that. Sorry about reconnect. Let's see if that does it. Come on. This is an issue I keep having with this camera. I don't know why it hates life. It just does. Try to unplug this. Hey, we're back. Cool. I like it when I don't have to get up. All right. Yeah, that's better on the mutes. Sick. That appears to be working. All right. So that feels pretty good. Let's see what's going on here in the chorus. So I have in the chorus, so the two choruses are different as well. The first one is a mix of these mutes and then kind of a musy sequenced whammy thing, which I... So I am shamelessly ripping this off of Muse's Map of the Problematek. And if you want to see how I'm doing that, so I've got this MIDI here, and this is sending two, it's sending one, two. It's sending a couple, it's sending three CCs. And so each of those is controlling the bypass of a whammy block inside Helix. Sorry that it took so long to get that out. And so you can see what it's doing here. So this one goes up an octave, this one goes down an octave. And then I've also got I think it's controlling... I'm actually a little confused about what I'm doing. Oh, let's look at the bypass. This will tell me. You know what? I'm not even sure what the 6th one's doing, but it's working. I think what is going on here is that it is... Oh, come on. Make space. So that's 5. That is the one that goes down an octave. This is the one that goes up an octave. I actually think 6 is a... I think that might be a red herring. I think that's actually captured here. Yeah, it is. Okay, so it's just the 2 CCs that are turning the whammy blocks on and off. And yeah, it's just you know, pattern that I sequenced out. Again, this is something that like live, I'm just gonna be, you'll see it in the video, I'm triggering with a button on my guitar wing. Although I guess I could do it with a switch. It would just have to be, you know, send a MIDI signal into Ableton Live and trigger a clip that has the sequence in it. Oh, but that's a little dry, isn't it? So I think we want to send these into a bus, and let me think about how to do this. So I've got not this one. So I think I'll have 2 things here. So I'll have a chorus mute sub. And then I'll send all of these to my Muse bus. Okay, those are already going to the Muse bus. And brighten that up. This is going to go to the guitar sub. And then these are going to go to... I'm going to pick a... Looks like 910 is open. And I want bus 910, rename chorus mute, and bypass solo. Cool. So I think all I want to do here is I want to just get a touch of compression going. Just a little, you know, a little hug. Make sure they're not, I want Novatron. And unlink that bad boy. So that's obviously pretty subtle. I'm not doing much there. But what it is doing, there's just a touch of saturation happening here. And the compression is just grabbing the front end of the little bit, taking a little bit of the transients. Oh, I should check my... Ooh, yeah, that's more than we want. That's my console emulator, and it looks like I'm redlining it, so let's not do that. I should probably do this across all of my guitar tracks now that I think about it. And let's look at the verse guitar as well. Cool, yeah, that was getting maybe a little saucy. Where were we? So let's listen to that in context. It pulls them together a little bit is what I'm really hearing happen, but I think it might be a little bit too much, so I'm just going to turn this mix down. Yeah, and part of what I want here is that I don't want those to be so obvious. Like there's something that they're poking out a little bit to me, and I'm trying to control that because I want that effect there, but I don't want you to like I don't want it to be grabbing your ear. I want it to just be a a bed, a backdrop, especially because there's gonna be vocals here, which I'll enable in a little bit. But for now, we're just we're looking at the guitars. So yeah, that's helping kind of soften it up a little. Cool. The other thing I want to do is I want to have a bit of reverb and delay happening on the on those musy parts. So let's make sure that this makes sense. That's maybe a bit much on the reverb. Actually, I think maybe I don't want the hall verb. Yeah, that sounds a little long, actually. Let's try the plate. I have a plate set up here as well. That seems a bit more appropriate for this. On the quarter delay, what else am I... Oops, sorry. Let me check what else I'm doing with the quarter delay. Show only assignments to 1/4 delay. Okay, so I'm sending some vocals here. So I don't want to mess with this too much because I do have a thing set up. But that might work for that. Let's see, what are we doing here? We're just... Okay, so this is just sort of my basic setup here. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna copy this over to this delay. This is gonna be quarter guitar delay and change, oops, rename that as well. And this is, so, and then I'm gonna change this to be, what do we want to do? I'm gonna try the Memory Man. Let's try the Memory Man. And I might mess around with making this stereo. Oh, wow. Hold on. This unhid all of my hidden tracks. Those are all the demo tracks that I was working with while I was re-recording everything. And some of the... So when I recorded the guitars, the way I did it was I recorded a DI track off of output 7 on the Helix on the USB, but I also took the amp sound just so I had something kind of ready-made there to mess around with initially. But since I've now transitioned to reamping everything and tweaking stuff in Helix native, I've just gotten rid of the recorded amp tracks because I don't need those anymore. And so get rid of that as well. Cool. So let's take a listen to what this new delay sounds like. That sounds a little better. Oh, and what I'm doing here, just so you know, is I've got a single, the normal note, and then I have an octave on top of it. So here's the low note, and then here are the octaves. It just sounded a little cleaner than just playing the octaves because it's such a fuzzy, dirty sound. I'm using the fatality for this. With a ton of drive. So this is the fatality's, a really kind of horked around dual rectifier, and it gets gross. So, but that's kind of what I wanted here. I think in the initially in the demo, I was running it to like a 1x12 or something. I ended up going with just a different mix of the MLIR here, but it's still pretty gross sounding, and it's a very different sound than the other guitars. So I believe for even the mutes, I'm still sticking to my rev and badonk thing. Oh, which, by the way, in terms of differentiating the rev and the badonk, I'm also using a different IR on each one. Oh, hey, Keva. What's up, man? So, yeah, let me... I'm going to mute the reverb so we can just listen to the delay for a second. So that sounds pretty cool. Oh, it sounds like... Is that sending? No, it's not sending to the delay. Okay, so... Reverb and... What do we want to do with this one? I think I want this one to be a dual echo. I think I want to... Let's try that. Yeah, that's pretty much where... There sounds like there's reverb coming from somewhere. Did I forget something? Where's the reverb coming from? This is sending to Muse. Plate verb is muted. Guitar sub. Where's the guitar sub? Guitar sub doesn't have reverb on it. Merp? Oh, there is some hall verb. Where's that coming from? Where's the hall verb coming from? There's hall verb from the... What the hell is sending to hall verb? Hold on a second. Show me... Show only assignments to hall verb. And we should not be hearing this. I'm confused. 1/4 delay. Oh, I didn't change around. That's what happened. I didn't change around the delays. Okay. Store previously shown tracks. So I made that new delay and I didn't actually assign to it. So that's how easy it is to fool yourself, because I was feeling all good about how that was sounding and I wasn't even listening to it. There we go. There's my memory man. Okay, and the dual delay aspect of it. So one thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to balance the feedback over to the right, because you can hear the left side is trailing off way longer than the right is. Yep. And that's working a little bit better. Let me try just balancing this to the right. And I'm going to change my cuts here. I want a little bit more of a hi-fi delay here. That's sounding a bit better. And that's a little thick. Okay, cool. And then in terms of... Yeah, we can have a little more there. Cool. Let's see how that works in the mix and with the reverb. Cool. That's working. Oh, let me show you a cool thing that I did with the drums here in this chorus. So check it out. So this happened when I was messing around with how I was going to re-record these guitars, and I was trying to see if maybe I could track through Pro Tools, which I realized I couldn't, just because I put way too much stuff on the session. I would have had to make like a completely new session and bounce a backing track and record over that. But what I realized was so I was playing around and I turned off the delay compensation just to get everything kind of responding where it was, because I was trying to see if that was causing some of the latency I was having. And I should enable this again. Anyway, what it ended up doing is with the drums, because of the amount of plugins and various things I have on the drums, is the samples were hitting before the live drums, and it was actually having an effect that I really liked, particularly in the chorus. It fell apart once fast cymbal stuff started happening, but it was sounding really cool because it was sort of distancing some of the stuff. And I tried to figure out exactly what was causing it, and I realized it was the room mic. And having the room mic, basically it put a pre-delay on the room mic. It was backing it up by, I don't know, the 3,000 or 5,000 samples or something like that, a fraction of a second. But it was moving it back enough to where it sounded like this bigger reverb tail without the, the attack was kind of getting lost, because I'm already squashing the hell out of the room mic anyway. And when I got back, when I re-enabled it, I was like, oh, everything's tight again. But I felt like I was missing that effect. So what I'm actually doing is I have this time adjuster delay, and I'm automating it on in the choruses to kind of get that same effect. So I'll play it for you with and without, so you can kind of hear what it's doing. So if I disable the time adjuster, here's what the chorus sounds like. So this is everything, kind of lined up and tight. And then here it is with the time adjuster enabled. You're getting a little bit of extra slap on the drum hits, but there's also that kind of room tail fill up thing happening that I really like. So this was just kind of a sneaky way of achieving that. I'm also doing that at the very beginning for those first two snare hits coming out of the filtered section to make them kind of pop a little more. So that's a fun little sneaky thing that I'm doing there. All right, so what were we looking at? Okay, so this chorus is feeling pretty good for me. Let's take a look at what's going on here. So this is going into the next verse, which is now sort of a repeat of the big genty sound from the beginning. I heard something weird in there. Yeah, it looks like I chopped off something at the beginning on the right. What's up, dude? Oh, you are very, very welcome. Okay, yeah, so that's what happened. So it looks like I took just a little bit off the top here when I shouldn't have. Let's see what that sounds like. Ooh, that was not tight. Everyone loves the gent. Who doesn't love a good gent? Man, I did not play that nearly tight enough. Let me go ahead and edit this just a hair. That's a little more than a hair. And of course, the correct way to fix this is to play it again, but I'm not set up for that right now. So editing it is, and we're pretending that I'm a mix engineer and I got all of this stuff, and I can't just have the guy re-record it because it is an easy edit. Still something not quite. I'm gonna go ahead and move this forward. It's cheating. I know. That's fine. Yeah, that's better. And then do I want to move this back? Let's see, does that need to be the line? Okay, so I'm getting behind the drums here, so let me slide that back. Slide it on back. Slide it on back. Slid it on back too much. Okay, it's just that the last hit is rushed. So I'm not sanitizing my edits here. I'm not fading them like I should be. There's a couple reasons for that. Part of it is that I am, this is the DI, so this is just the clean signal that's going into the amp, and running it into all that distortion stuff handles all of that better. It'll run off any discontinuities and roll stuff off. Also, this part is pretty hidden, so that stuff's all getting masked, so it lets me be a little lazy here. Let's listen to just. And I realize, okay, and then here's the snare. And I see. So this is still further forward. And I'm going to go ahead and cut off the tails of this. Yeah, there we go. That's tight. And so here, this time, instead of the mutes, I just have that sequenced whammy thing happening the whole time, and I'm only bringing the octaves in for the little walk down at the end. Yeah. That's pretty much working. I don't know that I need to mess with that at all. And then finally, that's going to bring us to the solo. So let's take a listen to that. One thing I definitely want to do is I want to bring out that drum fill because it rules. And then let's see. Looks like the electronic drums kind of just stay with what they're doing. So I really want to starting here, the and then probably through the crash at the end, I want to bring this up. Yeah, just full on Portnoy fills. Come on. Boo. All right. Okay, so solo here. Solo sounds pretty whacked out, you might have noticed. So what I'm doing there, so this is fun stuff. So I had to recreate the live version of this because with tracking this, Pro Tools really doesn't play friendly with me doing live MIDI triggering the way that I have to in order to make sounds like that. So what the solo is doing, and that shouldn't be going to the gent bus, that should just be going to the guitar sub. So that is, so first of all, with the solo, I'm actually doing a transient designer into the amp and I'm doing quite a bit of it as well, just to brighten up some of the hits. You know what, I might actually, let's do it. I might want to turn it down a little bit now that I think about it. No, I actually still like that. So I'm going to leave that there. Then I have sort of a normalish helix patch here. This is and you can see it has the looper in it. This is just the factory rev preset, which I also made, but I messed around with it a little bit using an IR instead of the cabs, and I'm not using any of this. I could probably actually delete it, but this has 2 distortions on it, so I'm pushing it with both a Kinky Boost and the Scream 808. And then here is a Phase 90, and this is a trick that I learned from Per Nilsson of Scar Symmetry and Meshuggah, band you might have heard of. Anyway, yeah, he for his leads, he pops a phaser on it a lot of times, and that's what he told me that's what he's been doing with Meshuggah, which is, he's been using their Axe Effects rig and everything, but then he just pops his MXR Phase 90 in front of it, and it's really cool. It kind of gives it a little bit of this swirly, almost wah-ish sound, and specifically I like doing it in front of the amp. After the amp is a little bit too intense of an effect. This one, it's nice and subtle, and it just kind of makes it a little more lively. So I'm gonna mute the weird glitchy stuff that I'm doing. I'll go through that in a second. So that's what it sounds like with just what I played. Here it is without the phase. Just giving it a little something. I mean, I feel like almost all of the moves that I end up doing, just about everything, it's just all of these little subtle things that then add up to something in the end. So then that's just going into the rev. I forget if I mess with it or not. And then yeah, nothing going on here afterwards. So the wacky stuff that I'm doing here, this is the biggest part of it. This is a plugin called Manipulator from if any of you are electronic music fans, there's a band group whatever called Infected Mushroom. And they started releasing these plugins, and they're kind of awesome. And they're clearly meant to be used on vocals, or at least this one is very much meant to be used on vocals. And this is how they do a lot of the crazy vocal effects that they're doing. But me being me, I decided to put it on a guitar. And it's given me this like really wild pitch, amplitude, frequency modulation thing with the harmonics that messed it up in a way I just love. It also makes it go absolutely insane when you play more than one note, which is 100% something that I'm cool with. So you can hear, particularly like when I'm hitting the strings, if I hit more than one string or I actively play more than one note, it does these like crazy growly glitches, which are just, the sauce. So it's got, an octave thing happening and then all this like weird, like it makes the tone sound like it's falling apart. It's great. And the final thing is I Wish, which again, live I'm controlling this with buttons on my guitar wing, but in the studio I just have little bits here feeding it notes. And what I Wish does is it starts, based on the note you play, it starts looping a piece of the sound really, really quickly so that if you're playing up higher, it'll actually just make notes out of whatever audio it's being fed just by repeating it really quickly. This is an effect that you can do with any sampler, really. Like Contact will do this. Oh, thanks, Keva. On that note, again, this is a cover. Y'all need to go check out Bent Knee. That is the name of the band that wrote the song. They are one of the coolest groups out there right now, kind of alt art rock type stuff. Sounds quite a bit different than this, but they are really freaking cool. They are some of the nicest, hardest working people I've ever met. They're now finally starting to achieve some success, and there is nobody that deserves it more. So go check out the original. They released this album in November, I think, which is how long I've been working on this goddamn thing. But yeah, so definitely go check out Bent Knee. Anyway, so yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm just feeding it MIDI notes. Again, something I was doing in live that I can't do here is in live, I'm feeding it through an arpeggiator. I can't do that in Pro Tools, or at least not easily. So I just faked it by repeating the note a bunch of times. And it's what that's doing. Sup, Andrew? So what that is doing is it will then toggle between the original sound that I'm playing and the note as I Wish does it. And this is, if I I did re-enable it. This is what that ends up sounding like. And so you can hear it like really quickly oscillating up and down. So it's just an extra little bit of like, bleh. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Again, it's a cover. Go check out the original Bent Knee. They are freaking cool as hell. And then finally, we're going to go back up to the Genty Gents here. And so, yeah, final thing, like I said, I can't do my normal guitar wing glitches, so I did it manually. So it just edits, it pops in the beginning of this and then a stutter on top of it. I'm letting that part be a little looser. I didn't edit it quite as mercilessly as the rest of the song. These are also playing behind the solo, but it's nothing crazy. I'm glad I did that though, because I hear some stuff that I don't like there, particularly on the left side. It looks like the gate's not grabbing it quite as well as I want it. Yeah, so I'm actually just going to cut these tails off. Get rid of the grossy gross. Gone. Ugh. And this is all stuff that, like, live won't really translate. It's, but, you know, we're in the studio, and this, if there's a time to try to achieve perfection, this is it. You don't want it to be too perfect, though, because too perfect gets boring. So that's why I'm letting, you know, this part, for example, stay a little sloppy. So y'all doing your social distancing? Y'all staying safe from the corona? We had to my daughter, who's 2 years old, we had her she's got a little toddler music class, and we did that virtually today over Zoom. That was an interesting experience. All right, cool. That sounds better. Let's take a listen to that. So I'm going to work on the solo tone a little bit, because it's popping out to me a little too much. I want it to be a little more in the mix. So first of all, I'm going to send it to this guitar delay that I created, which already helps. Hall verb is sounding a little splashy to me. I might want to set up a Yeah, that's the funniest part is like, okay, well, I don't go outside as it is, so this isn't really a problem. I think I have gone somewhere that's not like the grocery store or, you know, dropping my daughter off at daycare like once in the last month when I went to a show when a few of my friends were coming through town. So it hasn't been a big ask for me. But again, I also work from home as it is. So that's, whoops. All right, cool. So that feels a little better for the solo. I'm debating whether I want to pop a compressor on here. Let's see. Well, let's mess around. Let's see if we can get a cool sound out of it. Do I want to? Let's try getting a little squish here. So it's doing a little something. It's a little subtle. Let me try some of these other algorithms. I feel like it's focusing the sound a little more in the high mids. It's a little fizzier. Let me try some of the others. Ooh, I kind of like that, though I think I want it a little less. Yeah, I want to mix it down a little more. Yeah, that's making it. It makes it just a touch more gnarlier. I'm gonna add just a touch of level back in because it feels like it's dropping a little bit. All right, cool. That's pretty sick. Great. Let's pop the vocals in. You want to hear something wild? When I was working on the vocals on the last stream, so I did the stream, and kind of towards the end of it, I played the full track. And since this gets archived on YouTube like a regular video, I then got a message being like, hey, there's copyrighted material in here. Because even though there is exactly 0 original sound in it, and the only things that are the same in this as the original track are the tempo and like the vocal melody mostly, and the chords kind of, it recognized this as Bentley's Cradle of Rocks, and BMI, staked a claim so that they get writer royalties off of any, ads or whatever. I don't turn ads on my stuff anyway, but I just thought it was wild that the detection is that good now. All right, cool. So let's check out. Whoa, hold on. There's stuff in here that shouldn't be. That should be gone. That's still happening. Okay. I think that's correct. All right, let's try that. When you lay you down, the night starts to spin for fear of missing out. All right, cool. So right there, I'm immediately going to ride this up a little bit. Because we're starting off soft, and we want to make an entrance. When you lay you down, the night starts to spin for fear of missing out. All right, now let's does it though? Does it? Muted my mic there for a sec. And again, it's not all me. I didn't sing this. This is the incredible David Vives on vocals and the lovely Blaze Collard on drums. I am doing the arrangement, the engineering, and and everything else. Okay, so I'm gonna go through and do some vocal rides here. When you lay you down, the night starts to spin. So I'm just gonna choose. So my compression is flattening this vocal out pretty much, which is great. There's a lot of dynamic consistency, but that means that if I want some excitement or some movement, I have to add it in myself. So that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm just gonna find a few words that I want to emphasize and just pop the beginnings of it. When you lay you down. And I actually want to, let's do lay as well. Just when you lay you down, the night starts to spin. So when you lay, you're down the night. When you lay you down, the night starts to spin. It starts to spin. 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 When you lay you down, the night starts to spin for fear of missing out. And let's bring up the tail of that a little bit, because when you lay down, I want to hear all that beautiful ooh, get sexy. Dead heat of word. Dead heat.
Dead heat of words and prose.
Dead heat of words and prose and scenes.
Dead heat of words and prose. Dead heat of words and prose and scenes. You just
Scene. S's are always tricky. It's because that sibilance.
Scenes you just. Dead heat of words and prose and scenes. You just can't let it go. Edges of your. Edges of your.
It's gonna pop the. It's basically the ones that are hitting with something else. So edges of.
Edges of your eye.
Do I want to bring edges up? I think I want to bring edges up into.
Edges of your eyes. Show. Edges of your eyes.
Eyes.
Edges of your eyes. Showing the weak. Showing the weak night.
So definitely weak. I might have to bring up strobing because that word just sounds quiet.
Your eyes. Showing the weak.
Yeah.
Of your eyes. Showing the weak night. Never too young to rest. So
Let me maybe control this a little more because it might be popping just a touch too much.
edges of your eyes. Showing the weak night.
And then.
Weak night.
And do I want to bring this whole thing up a little bit? Just touch and then roll this up. Cheers, man. Thanks for stopping by. That's maybe a little too much. Let's let that fade a little bit.
Never too
Let's lean into that.
Never too young.
Do a little more.
Never too young to
Punch young.
rest. Never too young to rest. Never too young to rest. So won't you take
That word's a little quiet.
rest? So won't you take it slow? Rest. So won't you take it slow?
Oh, that reminds me. I actually want to pop some compression on this Muse thing. So I've been digging that Novatron, so let's just stick with that. Oh, come on. And want this. No, you didn't. Shush. Hold up. Let's just hold up a minute. No, that's correct. Let me see if my limiter is doing anything crazy here. These two things right here, this and this, are the two biggest CPU hogs in all of my projects. Let's turn oversampling off on the limiter. That'll free up enough. Let me actually see what this says it's doing, because, yeah, Pro Tools, you're a liar. Whatever. Hold on, that says it's muted. Scratch lead. This does not need to be here. Oh, okay. Those are two other things that just got brought back for some reason. Cool. Get rid of that.
Just can't let it go. Edges of your
These two things are also don't need to be here. These two things don't need to be here. Yeah, I don't know why it was re-enabling those when I was coming back from that one view. All right. So yeah, the guitar. I already like that better though. It's not even doing much, but it's doing something. Yeah, you can really hear it, especially just the way that it comes off of that to the end. The biggest thing here for me is that it is pulling it back into the rest of the track a little bit, and I can see that my camera is freaking out a little bit. So let me do a reconnect. There we go. It just that dismount feels a little smoother to me. Yeah, push it into the time effects a little more, just to have it after it finishes. The tail will kind of smooth it into the rest of the stuff a little bit more. All right, let's see how we're feeling about the chorus vocals. As is maybe a little loud there. Oops. I love the way that just ramps up into the verse so much. Dave did such an incredible job on this. Yeah, I don't feel like I need to do too much more in the chorus there at the minute. For the minute, it's such a kind of masked thing with the harmonies there. It's really supposed to be like kind of a single unit thing happening there. I'm already compressing them together. I'm gonna think about if there's anything else that I need to do for that. We'll come back to it, but for right now, I'm feeling that it's pretty good. Let's take a look at our loud verse vocals. Oh, okay. So we'll get to what's going on here because it's kind of a fun thing.
You don't even know the dice that you roll, the dips in the road. Why knuckle your bones to stay your course? You just can't let it go. Yeah, if you're quick to hate and if you're slow to love, well, that's your hitch to toe. You're never too old to change, so don't you prove me wrong.
So what that is controlling actually is I have this manipulator bus right here. So I set this up as like a parallel effect. So this is that same manipulator plugin that I was using on the guitar solo, but this time I'm using it for what it's meant to be used for, which is vocals. And so there were a bunch of harmonies initially here on this line.
Just can't let it go.
Mirroring the ones in the first verse, but Dave took this up an octave and he sang some different notes here that even like I tried messing around with it with tuning, but he very quickly pointed out to me that didn't work, and he was of course correct. So I kept the harmony on "Let It Go" here.
Let it go.
But I had to find something else to kind of fill in the space here because it felt a little barren going against all those big guitars by itself. So I added a little bit of a little special sauce here from Manipulator. Here's what that sounds like.
Course you just can't let it go.
It adds that kind of low gritty thing, which I don't think I can. I wonder if I can solo this out and not hear the original. No. Yeah, I'm not, or actually, if I do pre and solo save, let's try that.
Just can't.
Yeah, so that's what that's doing. And mixing that in just fills it out and gives it a little bit of a wild effect. But another thing I found is that it sounds really cool here when he starts screaming.
You're never too old to change, so you're never too old to change.
Wait, why is that not?
You're never.
Huh?
You're never too old to change, so
What the heck? Something weird's happening here.
You're never too old to. You're never too old to change.
That was a fun little Pro Tools glitch. But yeah, so it sounds really cool when he on the screaming as well.
You're never too old to change. So you're never too old to change. So don't you prove me wrong.
Added in on the big note at the end as well. So stuff like that is fun to do. Okay, yeah. So let's look for some opportunities to do some vocal rides here. It looks like I was doing a little bit there already. Where on the big note there.
You don't even know the dice that you roll the dips in.
So it feels like these want to pop a little bit. No and roll.
You don't even know the dice that you roll the dips in the road. You don't even know the dice that you roll the dips in the road. Roll the dips in the road.
Yeah, let's do a little bit on road just to emphasize that.
Roll the dips in the road. White knuckle your bones to stay.
White knuckle your bones to stay your course.
White knuckle your bones to stay.
Is that?
Stay. To stay your course. To stay your course. You just can't let it go. Yeah, just can't let it go.
Feels like that needs to be a little bit louder, actually.
Just can't to stay your course. You just can't let it go. Yeah, if you're quick to hate it.
Oh, let me go ahead and put a de-esser on this as well. Fat Filter Pro DS. This thing just makes life so easy.
To stay your course, you just can't.
Versus
To stay your course, you just can't. To stay your course, you just can't.
yeah, it's just a make it sound good button basically. All I did was I pulled down the side chain, the EQ, like where it's listening for sibilance a little bit to let in a little more, and then wideband will just dip the entire signal versus split band will just dip the affected part. Just makes it a multi-band thing.
To stay your course, you just can't.
It's actually maybe taking off a little too much.
To stay your course, you just. To stay your course, you just can't. To stay your course, you just can't let it go. To stay your course, to stay your course, you just can't let it. To stay your course, you just can't.
I can actually leave it on wideband so that it doesn't mess with the phase as much. The split band is really useful for when you have more than one thing in a signal, like if it's on a stereo mix or there's something in there with it, then it's good for that. But since it's just a single vocal and really you're only going to be having sibilance or assonance happening at any given time separately, you can do wideband and just dip the entire signal, and that way it won't create any phase weirdness.
White knuckle your bones to stay your course, you just can't let it go. Yeah, if you're quick to hate and if you're
Let's pop that hay a little bit. Oops. That's one of my favorite shortcuts in Pro Tools. The Option Command Z to recover your selection if you lose it.
yeah, if you're quick to.
Which has been especially useful because my mouse clicker or my trackball clicker is dying and keeps like mistriggering and deleting my selections.
Yeah, if you're quick to hate.
Hate seems like a good emphasis.
Yeah, if you're quick to hate and if you're slow to love.
And obviously after that I have to pop love.
Yeah, if you're quick to hate and if you're slow to love, well that's.
And you can see I'm not doing, like, these aren't huge moves. That was like a dB and a half. But it makes a huge amount of difference.
If you're slow to love, well, that's your hitch to toe.
Let's do toe. That sounds like it wants to be louder.
If you're slow to love, well, that's your hitch to toe.
Actually, I can let that take a little longer to fall.
Let's
bring the ending up.
You're never too old to change, so don't you?
I'm going to do the beginnings of all of these just to give it more impact. You're never too old. And let me bring down the size here so I can see where it is. Oh, I did that wrong. Okay, so this is you. No, this isn't the right place. Okay. And just to make sure we're doing something. Yeah, it's just, it's a subtle little thing. But it makes those words hit harder. Change sounds a little quiet there. Prove me is a little quiet. Yeah, see, there's my clicker going off. Yep.
So don't you prove me wrong.
So I think I'm going to bring the chorus vocal up a little bit here. That sounds a little quiet to me. Let's see what 2 dB. So I feel like I was losing the drums a little bit, and the drums are a pretty important part of this. So I'm trying to make space for them, taking off a little bit here. Let me actually, let's see if I maybe have like a little too much low end going here or something. So this is what, 6? Yeah, because I got to make space for those toms that are happening. I think I might actually just want to pop the live drums up here. Let me listen to this one more time.
Don't you prove me
Let's try this. Just a little bit. Let's try a dB. That might even be too much. See this one? What? What happened? Okay. I must have hit X. There we go. Okay, try that. So that felt like it made the snare pop a little bit too much. Let me try half a dB. And let's bring the toms up a touch as well. Let's do 1.5 dB.
You prove me
Yeah, that's feeling good. I want to check my master compressors here because it feels like that may be squishing a little too much. That was definitely eating some of it. So I loosened up the attack on this guy and started letting quite a bit more of those drum transients through. That started feeling a little better. It's not really affecting it. Oh, come on. All right. Anyway, I'm digging where that is now. That feels a little more powerful. All right, let's see the exit into the store. Actually, one thing I don't like there, the octave. I don't think I need that. That seems like it's too much. Yeah, first blip is kind of popping. What if we just quieted that down a little bit? Alternatively, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take the sustain and copy it over. Actually, let me take a later sustain. Yeah, so that'll basically, instead of re-triggering the note, like picking the note again, what that does is it just sounds like I kind of slid my finger up without picking it again. Yeah, that's better. Because then that lets the drums, because the video is definitely going to be on the drums at that point as well. Let me actually, yeah, since we're doing a build there, let me build the volume. So I think we can start the roll off on the cymbal earlier. Still feels a little bright, doesn't it? Let's EQ it a little bit. Use natural. It doesn't really matter because there's no other sources mixing with it, but just keeps the high end phase a little more coherent. So I'm doing dynamic EQ here, so it's only going to activate that when there's enough of that frequency above a certain or that frequency area above a certain threshold. So it's not just a flat cut. It'll keep it. It's a slightly different sound. Because really, what I'm trying to control here is pokiness. It also might be a little too loud. Let's bring it down a touch. Let's hear it coming out, because now, like, as soon as I do that, I'm worried that it's now getting lost in the rhythm guitars. But before, it felt like it was too far in front of the rhythm guitars. So I brought the volume back up. I split the difference a little bit. That feels better. One way, though, to control if something feels too far forward, then reverb and delay will push it back a little bit. That makes it sound further away. So increasing both of those, I think, will help a bit as well. Too much reverb? I can't tell. Cool. Digging that. Let's see. Okay, quick break before I forget. Again, remind you guys about our wonderful sponsor, DistroKid, the absolute easiest, cheapest, most convenient way to get your music on the internet. I've been using them for years. It is so cool that they are now, for some reason, giving me money to say this. Because as I mentioned before, I would have just recommended them for free. I have recommended them for free. Every time I've been asked about how to do this, I have said, just use DistroKid. So yeah, like when I upload this, I'm gonna be doing it with DistroKid. It's awesome. Super like if I wanted to upload this now, maybe I'll do a stream of me uploading this song. Here you get to choose all the stores that you want them in. How many songs you want. You want to upload an album, etc., etc. If you can, I've actually transferred stuff over. I had my cover of Drifting I had on back when it was louder. I think it's Sound Drop now, but then I transferred it over to DistroKid. It's super easy to do that. Adjust all of this. You can match any already existing artist things. You can backdate your releases or forward date them if you're planning a release. Images, generate UPCs if you have a record label, etc. And you can even there's a choice for if you're doing if you're doing a cover song. They have their own cover licensing. It's super easy. You just enter all of this stuff. You hit done, and that's it. It's great. Okay. Cool. All right, where were we? Okay, we were getting to the end bridge here. So we're coming out of the solo. Oh, yeah. So thing that's catching my ear here is the glitch. For whatever reason, just starting at this part, it gets really loud and pokey. I think it's the glitch. Hold on.
Stream upstream to blow into borders.
Yeah, it definitely is the glitch. So I'm debating whether it needs to just be brought down or compressed or maybe limited. What do I have on here? Let's see. Oh, it's definitely hot AF. Because it's all super fast stuff, just like a normal compressor probably wouldn't grab it or wouldn't grab the stuff that's bugging me. So let me actually put a limiter on it. And yeah. And I'm gonna, so with this limiter, they have this cool 1-to-1 feature, which will, regardless of how much gain you add to it, it keeps the level the same. Normally, because normally limiters are used for your like loudness maximization stuff. As I bring this up, it's gonna get louder. With that 1-to-1 thing, it's gonna stay the same volume. It's gonna apply an equal amount of negative gain at the end. Yeah. Let's see if that does what I want to.
Stream upstream to blow into borders. Holding up mountains in pairs rolling forward. Pebbles stream up.
Yep, that absolutely took care of it. Cool.
Pebbles stream upstream to blow into borders.
I think I'm also hearing the Yep, that's what it is. Okay, so there's extra hi-hats in the loop and on the snare hits that I think I need to get out of here. So you can see a whole bunch of edits here. That's because I actually took my sample drums and I lined them up to the live drums. I tried to avoid editing the live drums as much as possible. One place I kind of did that was on the kicks in the chorus and on sort of the metal sections, the double kicky parts. I beat detected that, but the rest is all just Blaze's take 10. So what I'm gonna do now, I need to go through here and find the spots where the snares are letting a hi-hat sample through and get rid of that. Case in point. Oh, but I want to do it without, yeah. Ooh, that one got super loud too. Oops, wrong key. All right, that seems like it. Let's see if that took care of everything. Oh, wrong section.
Upstream to grow into boulders, holding up mountains and cairns rolling forward. Pebbles dream upstream to grow into boulders, holding up mountains and cairns rolling forward. Pebbles dream upstream to grow into boulders, holding up mountains and cairns rolling forward. Pebbles dream upstream to grow into boulders, holding up mountains and cairns rolling forward. Pebbles dream upstream to grow into boulders, holding up mountains and cairns rolling forward.
I think I want maybe a little more of the choir, the gang vocally stuff at the end there, up at the beginning of that section.
Dream upstream to grow into boulders, holding up.
And of course, I don't have a sub for that yet, so let me create one. And so this is going to be a stereo aux, so this is chorus background vocals. I'll put this to my chorus vocal sub, which is there. Make it yellow. And a sign.
Dream upstream to grow into boulders, holding up mountains and cairns rolling forward. Pebbles dream upstream to grow in. Dream upstream to grow into boulders.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. Thanks for stopping by. Glad you're enjoying it. Let me refresh my camera. Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Dream upstream to grow into boulders, holding up mountains and cairns rolling forward. Pebbles dream upstream to into boulders.
I feel like we use some more bass there. What do you think? I think we could maybe do a little bumpy bump here. Let's see what that sounds like.
Dream upstream to grow into boulders, holding up mountains and cairns rolling forward.
Nope, that's too much. But what I am hearing on the bass tone. Feel like we could maybe use. I'm just gonna do this, even though, yeah. So I have a sub set up, but it's really just that's a lot of times that it just came from my template. A lot of times I'll have both like a DI and a mic or multiple bass sources or whatever. In this case, I only have one bass track. But yeah, I feel like we need some more mids. What do you? Need more mids, and I think maybe we need, unless that's this thing that's doing it. maybe we don't need more compression. Let me do this with a different EQ though. Let's do it with a Cush EQ. Was deciding between that and the hammer. Yeah, I like that better than what I was setting up in FabFilter.
Stream upstream to grow into boulders, holding up mountains and cairns rolling forward. Pebbles stream upstream to grow into boulders. Pebbles stream upstream to grow into boulders, holding up mountains and cairns rolling forward. Pebbles stream upstream to grow into boulders.
I'm not sure if I like that better or not in the mix. I do like it better on its own, but now that I'm actually doing it, I feel like maybe it's taking up too much space or getting too muddy.
Pebbles stream upstream to grow into boulders, holding up mountains and cairns rolling forward.
All right, I'm about to do. So this is something that I do a bunch when I can't make a decision. I'm gonna close my eyes. I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna hit bypass a bunch of times, so I don't know whether it's on or off, and I'm gonna listen and see which one I like better.
Pebbles stream upstream to grow into boulders, holding up mountains and cairns rolling forward. Pebbles stream upstream to grow.
Okay, I'm gonna open my eyes. I think it's on right now. Nope. All right, so that means I'm gonna bypass this and throw it away. Fooled myself.
Pebbles stream upstream to grow into boulders. Small as lost in fire.
Here's a thought. I'm gonna try taking off my my low cuts on the IRs in the chorus. This will probably fatten up the sides a bit. See what that sounds like. Let me check my so here's a cool thing. So this is tonal balance control from Isotope. And this is a fun thing that it'll show me kind of an expected range of frequency response for, in this case I have rock selected, and it'll show me where my mix is based on that. So that actually looks okay. I've got maybe a little too much low lows and not enough high highs, but that there's no cymbals happening in that chorus, so that's probably why.
You don't even know the dices that you roll, the dips in the road. Why knuckle your bones to stay? Let it go. You're quick to hit. Oh, well, that's your hitch to toe.
Much less of an issue in the verses, obviously. Maybe I'm a little worried about the low mids there. Debating whether I want to do something about that or not. I could try.
You don't even know the dice that you roll.
Let's try boosting the bass in that section. Let's do a dB and a half.
You don't even know the dice that you roll, the dips in the road. Why knuckle your bones to stay your course? You just can't let it go. Yeah, if you're quick to hate and if you're slow to love, well, that's your hitch to toe. You're never too old to change.
Well, I like that it made that guitar part seem like way huger. So I'm gonna roll with that. But apologies for my camera. It keeps bugging out. Yeah, doing this like iOS phone connection thing is absolutely not the ideal solution for it. But it's what I had, and I didn't want to spend money. Might work on that in the future.
Take it slow.
Boosting there. Let me go ahead and boost it here in this first riff as well.
Fear of missing out. Dead heat of words and prose and scenes, you just can't let it go. Edges of your eyes strobing the weak, the night running out. Never too young to rest, so won't you words and prose and scenes, you just can't let it go. Edges of your eyes strobing the weak, the night running out. Never too young to rest, so won't you take it slow?
So they have a riser here coming into that I want a little more of.
Rest, so won't you rest, young to
See where it starts. That is a long tail.
never too young to rest, so won't you take it slow?
A little too much, actually. Let's do 1.5.
Never too young to rest, so won't you take it slow? Never too young to rest, so won't you take it slow?
Yeah, I think that's better. Do I want to do that in other places?
To change, so don't you prove me wrong.
Yeah, you know what? Why don't I just raise the entire track?
So won't you take it slow?
You. Oops. What am I doing? gonna punch those guitars up a little bit there.
Let it go. Just can't let it go. Yeah, if you're
Oh, and there's an effect I need to add there. That's supposed to slide up.
just can't let it go. Let it go. Of course, you just can't let it go. Yeah,
Actually, yeah, this is okay if this is both louder.
of course, you just can't let it go. Yeah, if
But yeah, I need to pitch shift that, and I don't know if I have an easy way of doing that in Pro Tools. I'm not using this. We can get rid of this. Okay, pitch shift. What do we got here? Pitch 2. Go 50 cents, which is so that's not it. I needed to go do. Let's see what that sounds like. Well, that sounds like ass. That doesn't go far enough. So that's not going to work. Let's try... I think I have kind of a whammy thing. Let's do it. So this is just a whammy. Let's try going up a third, blend wet, and... Oh, but I can't... Boo! How do I do... This is just a straight pitch. I can't slide it. It looks like I don't have a good way of doing this, so I'm going to have to come back to this. I'll figure out a more convenient way of doing it. If this was Reaper or Ableton, then I could really easily take care of that just on the tracks themselves. But it's Pro Tools, so I don't, so I have to outsource.
yeah, if you're quick to hate and if you're slow to love, well, that's your hitch to toe. You never tell.
Oh, you know what? I think I can do, yeah, Tornado. Is there anything else that would do it? No. I don't even know what that is. Let's try this. Because Tornado has a, what is it called? It's the tape stop effect.
Yeah, if you're
But I don't know if I can make it go up instead of down. So not that. Stutter granular vinylizer. Yeah, vinylizer I think is the tape stop. Pitch delay. I don't think there's a pure pitch on here. Okay, let's see if I can do it with the vinylizer. And oops. Slow down, down slope, up slope. So I could maybe do it. Okay. I don't think there's a way to do it to make it go up in pitch instead of down. Boo! All right, I'll figure this out later. Next. Fuck my iOS camera. There we go.
yeah, if you're quick to hate and if you're slow to love, well, that's your hitch to toe. You're never too old to change, so don't you prove me wrong.
Yeah, it still sounds like it's fighting the snare drum. Let's figure out what's going on there.
Prove me
just want to mute these and let the snare drum handle it. Yeah, there's enough going on there. Oh, because I think there's some samples too, right? Yeah. And are you synced? Aha, that's what it was. Let's try to bring this back. I know, it sounds a little messy. Not certain about it. I feel like I want a little more of transition there. Now that I have the solo contained like that, I actually want a little bit of that brightness to come back. So I think I pulled this down a little bit, and then maybe just a touch more treble and presence. Check this again just to see if the whirly and the strings pop through a little more.
Stream upstream to grow into boulders, holding up mountains and cairns rolling forward. Pebbles stream upstream to grow into boulders, holding up mountains and cairns rolling forward. Pebbles stream
take a little of the brightness off on the left side there. So here's the thing I don't usually get to do. I am going to only affect the left side. Maybe I just want to do a high cut here, or a high shelf rather. Actually, conversely, let's add a high boost to the right side. You can just be louder. So yeah, and it's okay that like they're there while the guitars are banging, but they don't need to be popping. Stream upstream to grow into boulders, holding up mountains in pairs, rolling forward. Pebbles stream upstream to grow into boulders. Cool. Well, I'm digging that. I'm feeling pretty good about it. It's about 2:30, so we've been going for 2 hours. I think this is going to be a pretty good spot to end this. So I'm going to bounce this out and have a listen to it on various systems to see what I think. So I'm going to make my oversampling way too high here for the sake of the bounce. And then just go ahead, bounce this out. So we're going to call this RC1, Release Candidate 1. For myself, and yeah, hopefully we'll be close. I'm gonna be editing the video of this probably tonight or tomorrow night. I'm gonna do some more shooting with the drummer to. Something weird happened. Do I have something soloed? Oh, because I didn't have a range selected. There we go. Try this again. Replace it. What the frick? Oh, because I'm outputting to Helix, and this is looking at line 1, 2, and I want to be looking at line 7, 8. There we go. Okay. Yeah, love... I have so much crap on here that I got so excited that Pro Tools finally had offline bounce, and my offline bounce is now actually slower than my online bounce. So how about that? And yeah, start freezing tracks if I want to deal with this. All those Helix natives are slowing it down quite a bit. Anyway, yeah, so I am... I think I'm going to try starting streaming weekly. I think... What do you guys think? Like, would it be better for me to do like a weekend afternoon stream like this, or do a like a weekday evening? So it'd be like a Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Anyone have thoughts on that? I can see I got like 9 viewers here. Let's hear it in the chat. Come on, guys, give it to me. What do you think? I'll probably post something on Twitter or Facebook as well. But and instantly my viewer count drops to 4. Anyway, so yeah, so gonna try to keep going with more stuff. Send this track off to mastering, and hopefully we got a release in like a couple weeks, which would be pretty dope in my opinion. And then I'll keep going with like the VGO mixing and stuff. So Everyone, thanks for stopping by. This has been a blast. Thanks for commenting, etc., etc. Love y'all, and I'll see you next time.